Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to follow us wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. If you love what we do and want an easy way to show your support, please consider leaving us a positive that's all the stars rating on your favorite listening platform. It helps SPN and fanfic lovers find us and share in the fun. I'm Sandra.
I'm Kasey.
I'm Dreamer. And guess what? I'm driving baby this week, so strap in, fuckers, because I am unlicensed as fuck.
Woo!
This week's episode is about word challenges, another one. So the latest shiny new toy in the Idling in the Impala Discord server is Sandra's Smut Closet. What she does is she does amazing live narrations of fics or snippets of fics if they're way too long, which I know mine are. She does snippets of fics with a 1,000 word limit. Initially, there was some chatter in the server, and I think it might have been BJ who brought it up first. The idea of doing a little challenge to write something within 1,000 words, especially for the Smut Closet. Sandra and Kasey, who are always keen little beans, to add more to their totally empty plates because we know they just never have enough to do. They're always bored and always telling us, guys, give me something to do. I just need another job, or, I have all this free time. Please, I'm begging you.
We're not busy enough, you see. We're very wild people. We require stimulation.
Yeah.
And help.
Nervous dog.
That's why Sandra's just always in the server, just cannot shut her up. So anyway, maybe someone, not to name any names or point any fingers or call anyone out, because we don't do that on this podcast, someone might have mentioned that for the next writing challenge Sandra and Kasey did, an even stricter word count would be fun, because the previous one, which was, it was ages ago, wasn't it? It was back when I was too scared to be actually on the podcast.
Are we talking 23, I think? Maybe?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because I only got to know you guys in very late 2022. So, yeah, it must have been 2023. And it's 2025 now. Holy shit. Oh.
That's like a decade in real people years.
I know. Oh, Lord help us. So, yeah, that word count was actually 3,000 words, or, sort of roughly 3,000 words, I think. I'm not sure how strict we were being about it.
Sandra went over the word count. I didn't.
Oh, Sandra.
Did you get close to the mic again?
I did.
Now, Sandra, you know that's against the rules.
Don't do that.
But yeah, so...
Sorry, Sandra went over the word count. I didn't go over the word count, but Sandra did.
We're not in the Smut Closet.
Jesus, fuck!
Oh my goodness!
I have the worst fucking memory, right? I swear to God, I'm like a dickhead with a hot stove, because I do that to you, and every time I do that to you, I forget how that sounds in my ears, and every time you do it back to me, it's like I'm touching a hot stove for the first time. Like my skin is crawling now. Oh.
I mean, it doesn't make my skin crawl. Feel free to get close to the mic, Sandra.
Fuck off!
It's like we're back in the Smut Closet, to be honest.
I didn't know the Smut Closet. The Smut Closet doesn't. But when you do that, well, she doesn't get that close to the mic in the Smut Closet. But when you do that voice in the Smut Closet, it doesn't bother me as much. But something about, like, I don't know what it is, but like you're in my brain. My brain really doesn't like it.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a suggestion that you get that close to the mic in the Smut Closet when you're doing Dean voice, and I think you're going to blow everyone's minds.
I do try to.
Anyway.
I do try to, but I try not to get that close. I got a little too close for that one on purpose, but I do try to get a little bit closer in the intimate.
And
that's what it is. We're getting very intimate in people's ears when we do that. So I may have to put like a little disclaimer. Apologies. There's going to be some intimate ear action happening that you may want to.
Oh, I wish I could take credit for that joke, but I can't. I wish I could though.
Anyway, I went over the first self-inflicted word count challenge, as Kasey pointed out for all of us.
Only a little bit though. Not like a lot.
I think it was like 20 words or something. I think that was all it was. Yeah.
But you were both so well behaved this time. And with only 1,000 words, which is just, oh my gosh, I perish at the thought.
Somebody has regrets. Like, we're not saying who the somebody who thought this would be a good idea is.
Yeah.
But that somebody has regrets, certainly.
I mean, it wasn't me, and I don't think it was Sandra, but I don't know who else it could have been.
Dane.
Online. Well, when you commit something to an episode, then it becomes, it's just out there. You can't take it back unless someone who's in charge in editing takes it back. And I decided not to take it back either. So I think we could probably say 2 people are at fault in this situation. So, but one did definitely come up with the idea first on the podcast, and then I could have taken it away, but I didn't.
Doesn't sound like me, guys.
That sounds like teamwork,
Teamwork to throw ourselves under the bus. Yes, indeed.
I love that for you guys. So here we are now. We are breaking down Sandra and Kasey's 1,000 word count challenge fics.
Yay!
So last time, just to sort of give you a rundown of where we started, the last time, like I said, the self-inflicted word count challenge, the first one was 3,000 words, and the prompt that I gave was character 1 is lick it up and in the mood. Since they think they can't have who they really want, which is character 2, they send a naughty text/voicemail to a friend with benefits, only they accidentally send it to character 2 instead. Character 2 is well and truly on board. But this time, Sandra, what was the prompt or challenge?
This time it was big things in little spaces. And I think probably the reason that we really started thinking about it in those terms, probably just to begin with, was because of the fact that I do in fact narrate in a closet, which is a tiny space. Because when I do the Smut Closet, I do a video of myself as well when people are watching it live.
Sandra in the fridge.
And basically the very first time, I think you guys...
So many of us thought you were in your, like that your camera was inside your fridge,
right,
viewing outwards.
Yeah, because of the shelving situation that I'd had at the time. And I've actually changed it up since then, thanks to my husband and stuff. I was like, we need to figure this out. This is bothering me. I can't get video set up in a way that makes sense. People are seeing shelving and they think I'm fridging myself. I'm like, this is a thing we've got to take care of.
No, fridge shelf.
So now there's no more fridge shelf. I mean, there is, but you don't see it. It's better now. It's better the way it's situated. But it was cute when Beverly was like, "Oh, I thought you were in a fridge or something." So I was like, "No, it's not." Or like, I think you guys were supposed to be in the fridge.
You gotta stay cool.
And it gets very hot in there. I can't do anything about that, just because of noises and stuff. But yes, big things in little spaces. I think that was originally how it came about, was because of the closet. And then I'd had
an incident
in real life where, for people who don't know, I have a very tiny car. It's not super tiny, but it's a compact car. And when I have to transport things in my car, and you put my car up against, say, an SUV or other, regular sized vehicle, you realize how limited I am in space, not only in the trunk, but also even in the back seat. It does the job that I need to do. Get to point A to point B. But if you need me to help you move, you're going to be shit out of luck, because I'm not going to be able to do a lot of stuff. For my personal incident, I don't know, I think I was talking to you, Kasey, about it. And I don't know if we were already talking about the big things in little spaces.
Well, also, and Sam and Dean are the big things.
Yeah. So Sam and Dean were the big things. And I was like, I wonder what it would be like to try to get Dean in the backseat of my car. So that's how I came up with my idea for my story.
Excellent.
Well, no, that's how you came up with. We were just chucking around like, oh, we should do like a 1,000 word something, Smut Closet, blah blah blah. And then you were breaking down this incident that you'd had, and you were like, I just kept thinking about like, what would Dean say about like the back of my car, and I couldn't even get Dean in the back of my car, and blah 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 blah. And I think you were like, I think you said, you were like, I think that's what I'm gonna write for my Smut Closet challenge. And I was like, yeah, I'll get on board with that. Big stuff in little spaces. So that's how it came to be.
That's how it came to be. And I think since we've, even like the idea has percolated in the server, I will say BJ's already written something for the Smut Closet.
She's a legend.
BJ and
the best. We love you.
It's great. And I can't wait to read it. It's going to be one of those things that because she wrote it, for this, I plan on putting it in the rotation of the Smut Closet narration at some point. But yeah, it's great. It's a Dean Smith Times reader. And it does start in a closet. So
nice.
Definitely taking the theme and like doing really great smutty stuff with it. That was a really great one. So I am looking forward to reading that one.
Awesome.
For the people in the Smut Closet.
Good job, BJ.
Me. Good job, BJ. Thank you for always doing the things. We appreciate you. You are a legend.
We love you. We appreciate you.
But yeah, so this is, I guess we're like, what? We're helping to like, I guess, kick it off too. Like, the idea of like, if you want to write something for the Smut Closet or you just want to like add to the challenge, we decided to start
it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be smutty.
No.
Even though it's called the Smut Closet, it can just be.
It can just be it.
Yeah.
It could just be Jan.
It can be fluffy. It can be angsty. It can be whatever you like, as long as it's supernatural.
And the thing is, we learned as time of recording, we learned last week that submitting the smuttiest thing you can fucking think of sounds great in theory until Sandra's done and everyone's like, can we take 5?
No. It sounds great in theory is fucking amazing in reality.
Yeah,
that was the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Right? Okay,
no,
Sandra,
please.
you could cut. Sandra, you could cut this out. Sandra, you could cut this out. Okay. I did not have time to be an adult with myself in between the end of
not cut this out.
And drink starting, and I really needed that time. Okay, and I didn't have time.
That was incredible, and I'm. No, absolutely not.
Everyone was horny in the closet. It was a problem.
Absolutely. I am. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's absolutely true, and I live for this shit. It was amazing. You cannot. If you weren't there, you missed the fuck out. You missed out. It was like I'm not even talking about like the reading was from my fic, okay. From my Sandman verse. And I'm not even talking about the fact that it was mine. Like, it could have been anything that was pure filth. Sandra, this is why I'm saying Sandra needs to get into her mic and just breathe the smut into the mic and just, like, sorry, Sandra, but, like, you're going to make people horny.
Well,
you're making people horny. Like
we've all just got a little bit of a chub on.
No, listen to me.
Fire
I had to close my eyes and look away from the screen because I could not look Sandra in the face, even though she couldn't see me. Because it was so fucking.
I could never look Sandra in the face. I always look at something else when she's reading because that just makes my brain feel funny.
It was oh my gosh, and of course, Kasey, Sandra, and I were planning to hang out on voice chat and have some drinks after the recording of the Smut Closet.
And really, we needed half an hour, but we didn't. We went straight into it.
We went straight into it. We really needed some adult time. But I had to go and like sort out my cat and make my own drink, and I take forever doing everything. And by the time I got back, Kasey was sending me private messages saying, "Are you all right? Did you need some adult time?" And I'm like,
I wasn't gonna out you like that.
No, that's what you said. That's what you said.
No, that is what I said, but I wasn't
the voice. Why you were on the voice and video call to Sandra?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck do you mean you weren't going to call me out? You literally said this out loud.
Sandra is not the internet. Sandra is not the internet. Sandra is one of my best friends. Gosh. Sandra is good buddy friend. Outing you to Sandra is like outing you to my spouse. It doesn't count, all right? Assume I tell Sandra everything.
Funny. Oh my gosh. Anyway, my point is,
be there or be square, fuckers. It's great.
It doesn't have to be smart, but
if it is smart, schedule yourself appropriately.
Exactly. Be prepared to be aroused.
Yeah. Schedule yourself appropriately. find your nearest bedside table drawer and or spouse, and don't plan on doing anything
your
immediately.
Couch.
Yeah, your nearest wanking couch.
Yeah.
I want everyone to know,
because they will sell out.
I want everyone to know the wanking couch started as a fainting couch. We were so demure, and then it evolved. Sandra's like, what the fuck is a wanking couch?
No. I remember this. I saw this.
She remembers.
Yeah, I remember. We had a whole conversation. I was there for this conversation. I remember this. Good. I remember this. No, my thing is, and I really want to have a conversation about this because it's just like not the elephant in the room or whatever, but like when you write smut, I feel like we need to just have a conversation at some point about this. Like, the whole point is to turn people on. And it's the same thing with listening to it. Like you want to be able to have somebody be like, there's a thing now that's occurred, like you've done your job. So
absolutely.
I actually I thought I got such a kick out of it whenever it was like, no, I need a minute. I was like, job well done.
That's awesome.
Patting myself on the back. Because I also feel like we need to just, and I've said this before, we need to embrace, we need to celebrate, we need our sexuality and all that entails and not feel that it's a bad thing or something that has to stay in the closet. Like it has to be something that we can be okay with, because a lot of other people are allowed to do and show and say and do whatever they want when it comes to that. And I feel like the empowerment needs to come to, females, assigned females at birth, all of that stuff that we just want to be able to say, it's normal, it's okay.
And we were in an adult space.
Yeah. It's an adult
celebrating
space.
Adult creative works.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with what we were doing. No one was being taken advantage of or exploited.
No.
And to be quite honest, traditional pornography, that can often be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, we're
more ethical.
Doing it in a much healthier, more ethical way.
And it was just fun.
It
was fun.
We just need to, we need to be far more positive about the positive ways that sexuality can be enjoyed.
Yeah.
There's a tag I've seen floating around on AO3 that I really, really like, and I'm going to put it on my next PWP. Its author is open to hearing about dead batteries.
I saw another one. I think I saw another one. It was Wank and Tell.
Oh, I love that as well.
I think that might have been the same sort of thing.
Oh, we need to do an episode titled that, and we need to have all of our smuttiest to smut friends in on that conversation. I feel like that's a necessity.
Absolutely.
To do. I'd love to do something like that because I feel like that's necessary because it's just something that
empower yourself.
Yeah, empower yourself to do it.
There's still so much shyness and like insecurity about that, especially among women in fandom. Like we do all this porny stuff, but people are still really insecure about it. I think a lot of people. Yeah, I try not to be, but I mean, as we've just seen, like I'm going to talk about it if people in the conversation are comfortable talking about it.
And it's growth.
But yeah, no, it still exists.
Dreamer, you were saying it to me too. Like 2 years ago, I never would have thought I would have done anything like that. Like and it's just like, and it's making yourself be like, this is not something to be guilty or ashamed of. I mean, I like that there's parts of spaces, that give you that ability to be more comfortable with yourself, because let's face it, the world in general is going to have thoughts and opinions, but to know that, we are all feeling the same things and we are be like, it's okay. It's fun. Let's do the thing. And I think Dean would be very impressed with all of us in the closet. I do not.
Dean would be so proud.
He would have been, yes, go for it.
There would be high fives all around.
All of you,
yeah,
and other
Reminds
things.
me. but all that to say, Sandra is an absolutely cracking narrator. She really,
oh my
really
gosh,
is.
yes.
So if you want to send the smuttiest smut that you've ever fucking smutted, send that shit in. She'll absolutely, like, you'll be horny over your own words. Weird feeling, right? You'll be like, I wrote that, Jesus. But also, she is an incredible narrator. Everything she narrates is fucking gold. So send in anything.
From Gen to shipping, from, G-rated to E-rated, it's all.
She's got it all, baby. She's got it
she'll
all.
smash it out of the park.
I don't really care the pairing, the ship, the the whatever. I have a certain hard passes, but if you are unsure, you can reach out to me and ask, and I will let you know if it's a yay or nay.
She has a handy dandy Google form.
Yeah, I have a Google form, and I think what I'll do is I will link in the description the AO3 collection, and I believe that has like what my passes are in terms of what I won't narrate, and it's in the forum too. So if I'll try and do all the things, have that stuff updated so that if you're interested, do it, because we love to read creativity, and it's another way to sort of like be involved and be a part of our little community that's part of the bigger community. So
Hooray.
And speaking on the other side of it now, 1,000 words is a challenge. What you like, deciding what you want to use those 1,000 words on, what you want to say, where you want to focus. If nothing else, do it for the challenge. Challenge yourself. We're all improving.
My story is up first to be discussed, and mine, as I said, I kind of came up with the idea of Dean in the backseat of a tiny car. That was what I started with, and I wanted it to be smutty, but I tend to have the idea and then not really the follow through. And that ends up being with like longer. I've noticed this with like, once I get an idea, and if I keep going and going and going with it, I never really get around to the smutty bits as much as I thought I would. So I
burn yourself out on the plot.
Yeah.
You burn yourself out on the plot.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure, and I've talked about this before with the writing process of it. I need in some way a backstory or a background or something to get me to feel like I'm in the space or the scene or whatever. So I think I was hashing it out with you, Kasey, and maybe Dreamer was part of it too. We're just like, I just need to start writing and get some ideas down, do a little bit of research, and then maybe figure out where I start the scene for everyone else. And then they don't necessarily need to know all of the details, but I will know it. I'll have a little bit. Maybe I can pepper in just some spots or thoughts that just sort of like continue it and give people a sense of what's going on. Because 1,000 words is, once I started writing, I was writing it, and I think I started it in Dean's POV, because I'd been doing another challenge at the same time that actually had to be in Dean's POV. So for some reason, I think I was still in that. So I started writing it in that, and it was sounding funny and stuff. But then I was like, if I want to get smutty about it, I've got to be in the reader's POV. And it was a reader. It was Dean times reader for me that I decided to do the story about. So I flipped it, and I started it off as reader. And I think I was in reader's head the whole time. I don't think I ever switched back.
Yeah, you were.
To Dean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically readers either like maybe like a hunter, sort of like hunter adjacent kind of a thing. Maybe like somebody that like helps out getting information, like maybe think like a Bobby or a Garth. Maybe like sometimes she gets involved in some stuff that way with cases or whatever. So, and I'm actually curious about asking you guys, because I don't know, I had a particular Dean in mind when I wrote this. Do you get a certain season feel for Dean in this story?
That's a good question.
But now that you've mentioned it, the Dean that I see is season 3. Don't objectify me, Dean.
I don't think, I'm not sure I could pin him down, but definitely not later seasons.
Yeah.
Not angsty.
Yeah. That's what I was going for. I'm doing that more lately. I'm trying to go back to young Dean. I don't know why. I feel like I'm the angst is like has overwhelmed me.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah. It's a little much. Yeah.
So I was going for like an early Dean vibe in this. So yeah, I didn't want to get because I've been with older Dean for quite a while. So younger Dean was something that I've been wanting to kind of explore lately. So that was kind of my thought.
Yeah, you definitely got that vibe.
Yeah. So it's kind of like he was he's on a case with or without, like Sam's not in this at all, so it could just be something he's just doing on his own, or maybe somehow he's just gotten like, split from Sam at whatever point. I wasn't really concerned about, that placement of it, because it was just such a short amount of time. So somehow, readers maybe helping Dean with the case, but inadvertently, like, she realizes, based off of like what's been going on with like, Dean's wanted for, the FBI, different things like that, and she sees a bunch of like police activity or something happening, and she's like, oh shit, I might have gotten him in a situation where he's going to get caught on his way out of wherever they were supposed to meet. So before I jump into the story, she's basically gone to the bar, told Dean what's going on, and he's like, well shit, now I'm screwed. And she's probably said, well, I'll smuggle you out in the back seat of my car. And then basically that's where we sort of like start the story, where Dean's in the back seat, got a blanket over him, covered up. He's mumbling, grumbling about stuff, and they're getting ready to. I can
just imagine the look on his face when he walked outside and saw the car.
Yeah. They're getting ready to like go through like basically like maybe like there could possibly be a checkpoint. They're not sure, but she knows that that's where there's been some police activity that they have to basically drive past or through. So she doesn't know how it's going to go. He's pissed off. He's in the back seat, and it's like a pinch point. Like they have to funnel through this area to get out. So that's sort of like the first scene. And the next scene, sort of like all in the clear. They're going back to her hideout, and the reader basically is watching Dean. Like they're in the garage, and she's watching Dean like try to get himself right-sided up in the back seat.
Fight his way out of the back seat
so much.
Yes.
From the mirror. And he's being his sassy self about the car and stuff, and he's upset that he had to leave baby, and reader's like, hey, this is my car, he did a good thing for you, you should be grateful, kind of a situation. And Dean gives a little bit of a look. He's a little like, maybe I owe you something. And so this is what I was originally like, how can I have them fool around in the backseat? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I don't want to do that to either of them. That's too much. So
that's going to cause an injury.
Yeah. And I was like, I just kind of wanted to get that sort of like, fun, comical bit out of the way, and then get to the next bit, which was like, readers like, well, we should do a sweep of the house, just make sure everything's in the clear, da 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 da. And then cut to the scene where Dean and Reader are in bed. And then basically it's just getting to know each other a little bit better in that situation. And I will say, before we get into, your guys' thoughts about the story, the one thing I think that also I kind of wanted to do this big things in little spaces, use that as well with Dean and Reader. And this is based off of, and this is not even going to come out. This is going to come out before the episode that we recorded came out, which was the Fact versus Fiction General Realism, where you've got Kasey and Dreamer schooling us all on a lot of different topics. And one of the topics I think I had mentioned or talked about was just like, how sometimes, it's uncomfortable or it's not pleasant, or there's a lot of stress on the person receiving something that's on the bigger side of things. And there could be other factors and things going on. So I kind of wanted to put that in there as well. So I kind of like, that was like my sort of my other layer of big things in little spaces, is Dean's basically trying to.
Yeah, I love that. Dean's
trying to just like, relax the reader and, get her to be okay with it, that it's going to be okay. He's not, doing anything intentionally, to hurt her or anything like that. He just, he's trying to just get her to just ease on into the whole aspect of the next part of the deed that they do. So I had fun with that, trying to get that under all of that in there under 1,000 words. And I mean, there's no way you can do a whole scene in 1,000 words, but I got, a couple of parts in there that I thought
you did really well.
It was amazing
for that.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Oh, and we should preface this too by saying Kasey didn't see mine. I didn't see Kasey's. We did
No, it
not
was
share
totally blind.
this at all. It was all blind when it was ready to be shared with Dreamer. We shared them all, at the same time. So we couldn't influence. We weren't really giving any ideas or anything like that about what was going on.
Yep. Dreamer didn't see anything, because normally me and Dreamer are pretty involved in our writing process. Dreamer didn't see anything.
That's
I wrote it in a
Mhm.
vacuum, which I hate. Don't like it. I don't like it.
I was talking to Kasey about it after reading both of your fics, and I really liked, I think what made this fic so successful in fitting all of what you did in there, especially with the sex scene, the tactic you took of writing the plot, even though you weren't ever intending to include it because you couldn't with, a 1,000 word limit, writing out that plot beforehand so you felt the story at least existed in your mind, and then you took the pertinent parts and just sort of pieced them together for the 1,000 word section. I think that was just really successful in the final product. I really liked that. I don't think I could have done that myself.
No.
I think it was really, just really well executed. Kasey was saying, I would have been, the way Kasey wrote their fic is exactly the way I would have written my fic, just from, I would have started where I started and finished where I finished. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed the way you explained it to us when we were all talking the other day about it, before the fics were finished. I can see how you ended up with the fic you ended up with. And I just A+, like, that's really well done.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Really well done.
I appreciate
Congratulations.
that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Because we've always talked about this, like a one shot to me feels like a snapshot, and it's hard to fall back into that. And I love the people. I'm always amazed by people that can do that really well, and I have little bits or bursts of it, but to really like be stuck with, you've got 1,000 words. Cause I started typing and I was like doing this first scene and I'm like, I'm already at 150 words. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I've got to pace this. And the only way I could figure out how to pace it was I have to break it up. Like it has to be scenes or shots or snapshots or, like different things like, like a cut, an edit, like how do we go to this, to this, to this, to this. Like I said, if I want to get him where I want to get him, and I kind of had to like just abandon the whole, I don't want to put us all through that in the back seat. I'm like, because that would be very comical and not necessarily, I don't think as smutty. Yeah, I don't know.
It would have been a comedy of errors more than,
it would have been a bit cracky.
Yeah. So I was like, I really, it didn't feel like Dean was going to want it to go that way either in the scene. So I was like, we got to move this somewhere else. So I had to figure out how that was going to happen. But and
filler between scenes and transitions between scenes take up so many words. I think you're right that you just couldn't have kept that sort of thing in, and kept within the word limit. So you're definitely right to just add scene cuts for sure.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
you're welcome. You deserve it.
I will say, the one thing, and I do this sometimes to a detriment to myself, but I've always been that person that I like to bring it back from the beginning of the story. So once I started out with that line, I know Kasey's very big on like, I have to have that first line. And I was trying to figure out where's a good spot to start this at, being totally random. So starting it out with like, not every day you got a Winchester in your back seat. And I was like, then I started writing. I was like, maybe I need to bring this back again a couple times.
I love that. I love it so much.
So when I did that, I was like, how do I end it? I was like, okay. So, I end it with another, there's not every day is scattered a few times in there, and it ends on another line, which is not every day. So I was like, that felt good.
I was so proud of that. I know I'm going to get my turn to break it down in a minute, but I was like, oh my God, I love this. Because you know me, I love...
Callbacks are the best.
I love callbacks. I love like a circular kind of thing like that. I love like a punch you in the face opening and a punch you in the face ending. I was like, I was giddy about it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good. Yeah, no, I was proud of this one. I feel like this one, I think I did a good job with it. So yeah, no, I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Fully agree.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You absolutely should be.
Awesome.
I can only sort of like echo like a lot of the points Dreamer said about like the way that you'd compiled the fic, like technically, because I couldn't do that. I couldn't write it and then take those bits out. I'd be like, no, it's all important because I'm self-absorbed baby.
I'm not deleting anything. Screw you. It's 2,000 words.
They're all important words. But like you continue your tradition of making me fall in love with your female characters. Like it's becoming a bit of a problem now. So often now I read you, especially like your one shots and your shorter things, and I'm like, I don't know who I'm supposed to be more attracted to because this is the problem. And you continue this with this, which is even more of a problem because it's a read it insert. So I'm like, help, is me I'm attracted to? Oh no. But
I did channel a little bit of you because I felt like
I heard myself in that a little bit. The sass, I did hear myself
a little bit of the lessons, as Dean's like, grumbly back there. Yeah, I was like, okay. So funny. Yeah, I figured you'd appreciate that a little bit. Because I did have to look that up. I was like, I had to figure out where I was putting. But I had to figure out where I was putting him that would make sense. And when I figured out like the location, that I was like, well, what is that called? And I was like, and I'm looking it up. I'm like, okay. And I'm just like, all right, well, this is probably something the reader would like, call him out on or something like that. And I was like, okay, is it this kind of like, this works kind of a situation? Yeah. So that was part of my research too. I was like, how do I put this in? Okay.
I said to you could have asked me, but geographical formations are not really my thing. I didn't
feel like again, because we were trying not to give any information about the fic, I really didn't want to ask too many questions about it. So and me, my little fic hoarder traits. I was just like, I still
are a
wanted
little
to keep
fic
it.
hoarder.
Yeah,
the canoid man. I needed. But yeah, no, I really like you got me again with your. I don't know who I'm more attracted to. Fuck. Kind of like the sass. The bit at the end. I made a comment over it, and I'm not going to read it. Because my fucking smut voice is no. Sandra can read it. You all can listen to Sandra, but it's 67 words. Okay. And the comment I left on it is, it's disgusting how hot you can make 67 words. I kind of hate you. Lol. I love you and this is awesome. But as I was reading it, I was like, oh, fuck you.
Well, Sandra, read us the 67 words. What were the 67 words?
No, she didn't have to read them now. They're going to be in the Smut Closet. Come to the Smut Closet to see it. No, you don't give them milk away for free. Come to the Smut Closet.
Someone copy and paste it to me. I'm curious now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, show me later. It's fine.
No.
I'll get fucking distracted if you show me now.
Well, yeah, and I'm afraid if I start reading it, that might distract further.
That's going to be a problem. Yeah. We don't have time to take a half an hour break. We're scheduled. Yeah, we're scheduled. But like what I really did like as well is the sex scene. I could really see that you were thinking about that conversation that we'd had for that fact versus fiction episode. And I really, really love that because it's one of those realistic things that you don't tend to see so much in unrealistic fantasy. And you did it so well, and you didn't make it like it was a problem or it was a barrier or anything like that. And Dean was the fucking sweetest about it.
Yeah.
And I think my second to last two comments were, excuse me, I am a puddle. And then Puddle Case has lost the ability to do words. Because it was fucking scalding hot. So good. Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah. I mean, I think, we always talk about Dean in that way. Especially I think, younger version of Dean. You know, I really do think, and I think a lot about like what his relationship probably was like with Kasey, maybe even Lisa to an extent.
Cassie.
I said Kasey. Cassie.
Like,
I have Kasey on the brain.
But no.
Cassie, and just, you know, what that was like, and how, you know, we do feel that he's very in the moment, I think, with what his partner, any partner, whoever that might be, you know, what their needs are and their reciprocation involved in that. And I feel that in my bones with younger Dean, because I feel that's his only, maybe one of his few spaces where he would get that ability, you know, to give and get with someone. So I feel that he would be that way, you know, maybe not later, but I feel younger, most definitely, you know, I feel that was something he really wanted. And, you know, no matter how short or, you know, long of a time frame he'd be with that person, you know, so.
And especially
I agree.
With the way that this is written, with the lack of Sam, it would be very easy to imagine this pre-series as well. I think the FBI mention does kind of, it does pin it into season 3.
Yeah, that's I realized that after we had the question of when do you think this Dean is from. But yeah, you mentioned the FBI and
but it would,
I think the Most Wanted or something. Yeah, Most Wanted list. Yeah, of course that's season 3 with Henriksen and all of that stuff.
But it would be easy. It is easy to, you know, imagine that maybe this is another time, or maybe Dean has oversold it to this girl or whatever, you know, but it's easy to imagine this pre-series and to imagine, you know, quite a vulnerable Dean making space in the moment. And it's just excellent.
Thank you.
It is
just excellent. You did so fucking good.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it. Yes. And I think,
love it.
Are we waiting to say the word count till the end?
You can announce your word count.
No, let's say it now. Yeah, go for it.
So I was at 996 words. So I got under 1,000. So I got it under 1,000. That was another thing too. I was trying to take it. I was like, nope. Don't describe this. That's not necessary. Take that out. Don't worry about that. Just get into the moment. Yeah. On that note, we should talk about Kasey's. We should talk about Kasey's fic now. I think we should do that. I'm going to say Cassie. We should talk about Kasey's fic now. Let's talk about Kasey's fic now. Because I think that's a good segue. And I also should say, because I'm going to out what this fic is. This is a Sam Times reader. And we've been getting, I think, trying to give more like reader love in certain situations. So I'm proud that this was a Sam Times reader one that you ended up giving it a shot. So
no, it was never going to be anything else.
But did you know that right from the start that you were going to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
when
awesome.
as soon as you said to me, like, big stuff in little spaces, well, if you put 2 Winchesters in it, that's not fun. That's uncomfortable. You know? That's not fun. You need like a normal sized person in a small space.
Ask Dreamer if that would be fun. I think you would get
I'm sure it would. No, I'm sure it would be fun. But no, it's a matter of perspective, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You need a normal sized person in a smaller than normal space to accentuate how big the Winchester is in the space. You know,
oh, it's like putting a quarter or a dollar bill next to something. It's like, this is how big this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So my fic is Sam/female reader. It's not named at the moment, which is weird because normally the names come to me pretty quick, but I'll workshop it. But the sort of the general gist of mine, and mine is just one scene from start to finish. Mine is, I do not have Sandra's technical skills. I couldn't write 3,000 words and then pick out the most important 1,000 because they're all important. Damn it. They're all my words and I'm a spoiled baby and I want
They're all your babies.
They're all my babies. But the gist of mine is Sam and Rita are investigating something. They're in a closet and they get locked in. Whoops. And that's
Oopsie daisy.
Oopsie daisy.
Classic trope. Excellent trope.
Classic trope. And I had said to Sandra, like, this is the weirdest thing that's ever happened to us, by the way. Mine is not smutty. There is nothing. It's a little bit, it's suggestive. but it's not smutty. And like, I don't know, even suggestive is like, it's tiptoeing the line.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there are people that would read that and go, that's not even suggestive. I'd read that to my kid, you know?
Oh, no, I don't think so. No, not the way you're just, no, I don't.
Well,
I mean, you could get away with it. You could consider it, but I think there's so much, there's innuendo in the description and stuff. Like, you could tell, you know, I mean, and
suggestive.
Yeah.
Suggestive.
But no, I wouldn't think this might be a PG-13 rating. Yeah.
But like, let's put it this way. If this scene was in a movie, you wouldn't have to skip past the scene if you were watching the movie with your kids. You could all just cough and not make eye contact.
Yeah.
So this is a very uncomfortable place for me to exist in because this has never happened before. Out of the two of us, I am never the one that doesn't write porn. But I didn't write porn for this, and it didn't fit. Like, I had this idea, and it was never like, oh, they're trapped in a closet. It was never gonna be like, oh my god, they're gonna they're trapped in the closet, better fuck to pass the time. I'd always had this idea that my reader character was gonna like freak out a little bit. And like just get a little claustrophobic, get a little bit freaked out, and Sam was gonna calm them down, and maybe they were gonna kiss or something. Because I'd said right at the start, and Sandra said right at the start, and then she stabbed me in the back, the bitch. we didn't think that we could do smut in 1K. I'd like laid that out. I was like, I can do suggestive, but I can't do smut. And Sandra was like, yeah, I don't think I could do smut either, with like an evil mustache twirling grin. And she secretly typed out 3K words and took the smut out of it. Oh, no, I'm kidding.
So rude.
Absolute rude. Backstabbed by my bestie. No. But like, that was the idea. Like, you know, maybe they were going to have a kiss at the end or something like that. Something just a little bit sensual. Just a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, it didn't shake out that way. I ran out of words. Like so many things, what I think is going to happen and what my characters do are completely different. So
uncooperative.
So fucking rude. So yeah, basically, you know, this closet, there's a latch on the outside. Rita was holding the door open, and Sam goes, hey, look at this. So she steps in, and the door closes behind her, and it latches. So they're trying to like figure out a way to get out. And while this is going on, Rita's sort of like freaking out more and more and more that, like, you know, it's dark and feels like she can't breathe and there's no air. And Sam's using up all the air with his enormous lungs, the bastard.
All the air, all the space.
All the air, all the space. And it's kind of more, I wouldn't say it's exactly crack, but it's a little bit more like just the situational humor of being in a small space with a large person, in that, like, you know, they can't sort of like, it's like a narrow, longish, narrow cupboard with like shelves lining the sides, so they can't pass each other chest to chest. They get stuck. And I got to write the iconic, it's fucking iconic line, you end up with a face full of Sam titties. You know, put that in a fic. I was so pleased. But yeah. And then, you know, Sam's like, okay, we'll crouch down and I'll stand over you. Like, what do you mean you'll step over me? You know, and Sam's trying to like brute force the door open. It doesn't work. Just ends up like texting Dean, and then kind of realizes that Rita's having, you know, just not having a great time. And then it, you know, it comes quiet of Sam just kind of like talking them through this like almost panic attack, and you can breathe and it's fine, and I'm here, and like Dean's on his way, and yada yada yada. And then it you know, it ends with Dean kind of like they hear Dean outside and they know he's coming, and Sam's like, well, since you got to second base, I guess you owe me dinner. So, you know, like the suggestion is there that this is going to go further. And then, because I love a zinger of an ending line, Dean comes in with an absolute peak Dean line as well.
I love that you ended it with a peak Dean. That was a great way to end it. Yeah. Dean coming in at the end.
Yeah, Dean is my king of good one-liners of the last few things I've written.
You do those so well. I love it. Like in Temet that you've just written. He's got so many good one-liners. You write him being cheeky, just
thank you.
Masterfully.
He lends himself very well to that. He lends himself to like a quick snappy one-liner. which
For
is
sure.
very, very different to on the show where so often he ends up going, "Your face is," and trailing off grumbling. But yeah. So and there was just a little bit suggestive, a little bit more comfort than anything else. But I enjoyed it, and the whole premise came from the dumbest fucking YouTube short, the dumbest short. I'll put it in the description, but it's listeners out there. It's Ryan Kelly. He looks like Jack the Whipper, but it's not Jack the Whipper. It's the other one. He does like the big company videos. Like if you know him, you know him. But like it's a pretty old shot now, and it's I think it's when he had roommates, and a girl comes out of her bedroom door and she's wearing this really, really pretty green dress, and then you just hear shit, and it flings over to Ryan, and he's wearing the exact same green dress, and then it flicks over to their other roommate who is also wearing the exact same green dress, shit, and then they're all in a line, shit, and that was like the opening salvo of just click. What was that? The door locked. Shit.
Okay.
So that put them in the place. Okay, they've just been locked in somewhere. What happens now? Kind of thing.
Yeah, love it.
That was mine. I don't have anything fun and technical to say because I just wrote it from start to finish because I just could not do what Sandra did.
No,
see, like I was saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sandra, you can go ahead.
No, I was gonna say how easy. Like, did you write it? Did you write it just over a course of a couple sittings? Did you write it in one shot? How long did it take you to write it out?
I wrote the so I think the ones that you guys still have my green marks of
that's what the green highlights were.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
That's when I if I leave something and I come back to it, when I start again, I mark it because it's a way to keep track of like how many words I'm writing per session.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'd written out the first bit, click, what was that? The door closed behind me. What do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. Shit. I wrote that at like 2 a.m. as it came into my head. And then, so from then, green mark to green mark, I wrote that in one session. And then green mark to end, I wrote that in another session. And there was a little while between them.
Yeah.
I didn't finish it until we moved the deadline date significantly. Yes. And then I was like, shit. I have to...
hey, you got it done.
Yeah, I did.
I was like, what? I got to finish this a whole week early? No, I was like, I was not prepared. Casey was like, it's fine. It's fine. You can do it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, we just, unfortunately, and we've realized it now, when we do these challenges, we go, okay, it has to be in by X. Mm-hmm. But we never consider the fact that we then have to schedule time with Dreamer, who obviously is, all our time zones are completely different. We then have to schedule, not only do we have to find time with Dreamer, we have to find time in our podcast schedule to record.
And then around life. Yeah.
Yeah. And we also have to give Dreamer time to read the shit that we've written as well. Mm-hmm. So we were like, problem. Fuck. All right, we've only got 3 weeks to do this instead of 4. Tits. But we made it. We made it. It was all right.
Yeah, you guys smashed it.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dreamer. Sorry.
You may now lavish me with praise.
Well, what I was going to say, like I said when we were talking about Sandra's fic, is that, Casey, you wrote this exactly as I would have done. I don't know. I'm not, I don't know how to say it without sounding like I'm shitting on myself, but I'm just not creatively or technically minded enough to use tactics like Sandra did to piece a story together that way. Like, it just wouldn't have occurred to me. I would have thought, okay, I have 1,000 words. I'm going to start writing. Like, whatever comes out is going to be my... whatever comes out is going to be my 1,000 words. And I'm writing too much. I better delete whatever I've written and try and make it more succinct.
I will say I didn't have to delete anything though.
No,
I will say I was expecting Sam to lead me down a track and then have to like haul him back, but I didn't. He was, despite not following the plan that I had, he did stay.
He was well behaved. Good.
On track.
Good job, Sam. Good job, Sam.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know you as a writer, and I know how easily your characters take you off track. So I am super impressed. Like, just the fact that you were able to keep it within 1,000 words I'm very impressed with that. Like with Sandra, we both know that she is such a disciplined writer, and you and I, Kasey, no offense, but we're
off with the wolves. We're off with the I'm off
are the wolves.
With the wolves. Yeah, we are the wolves.
We are the wolves.
The wolves come and run with us. I'm feral.
They're bleeding on the floor. We are picking out the corpses for whatever words we like most.
Yeah, shaking
stuck
like,
between our teeth, like
looting bodies in like Skyrim or something, just holding them down and shaking them until verbs fall out.
Oh, exactly. I think that's what's great about everybody's different way of writing too.
Yeah, I'm not saying one's worse than the other.
Yeah, and don't shit on it. Don't shit on it. Right? Don't shit on it.
No, I'm not trying to.
Okay.
No, it's just a different process.
It's just the way it sounds. I realize how it sounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just such a different method, and so I'm really proud of you that like you didn't have to haul Sam back or haul the reader back or rewrite it half a dozen times. I'm really impressed with that, and you did so well. Like that's such a it's a compact scene that says a lot. Like it has a really distinct start, finish, and progression. I loved the way that like there's such a clear moment of something's like when the reader starts, like right before the reader recognizes their own beginnings of panic, and then things just slowly get a bit worse, and the space that they're stuck in and how the reader feels about it gets slowly like darker and less comfortable and more ominous. I think one of the comments I left on the fic was that the cupboard or the closet has a real oubliette vibe to it, which shout out to my 80s babies and anyone who knows the movie Labyrinth. An oubliette is a place like just sort of an empty space that you throw people. Yeah. I know. Sorry, I do realize that. It's a place you throw people to forget about them, basically. And so it had like just dark, empty, dank, like unpleasant, ominous. And that sort of as the fic progressed, it just sort of got more and more of that sense of dread as the readers panic and fear grew. And I really, it was such a natural progression until like the reader was curled up in a ball, like just trying to breathe and not look into the dark and waiting for Sam to like just get them out of there, in a real sort of rictus of I'm not here sort of thing. And Sam can finally comfort them and make it better. And I really, it felt like, you're welcome, because it just felt really, really a natural flow to the whole thing. And of course the humor, I love your humor. the Sam titties. Oh my gosh, I loved that.
I think that was the only little tiny bit that I let you in on, where I was like, can I put this line in a fic? And you were like, fuck yeah.
Yes, always. Love the Sam titties.
But there's like, to sort of like describe the scene, it's so Rita's closest to the door and Sam is further back looking at whatever the fuck it was he was looking at. And so they're trying to like switch places so he can get to the door to see if he can, like, I don't know, fucking moose powers it open or something. And they get stuck. And the way that they get stuck, because of the height difference, she's kind of like eye level with his chest. So, like she tries to crouch down, but they're kind of like wedged together. So she's like, okay, you're going to have to go back the way you came. So you like kind of like blows out all his breath,
just
and
motorboating his chest, basically.
Yeah, like blows out all his breath, which would like compress his chest, but then like tenses and sucks in his stomach, which then pushes his chest back out straight into the reader's face.
exactly.
And I get
think
to put,
there was
no, I get to put my own humor, which is like, take me to dinner before you shove the girls in my face like that, or with you guys, which I was very proud of.
yeah. And then there's a line not far after that where the reader says, "I've had enough of you in my face today," before he steps over them. And I said, "Don't be ungrateful. There are people in the world who are starving for parts of Sam in their face." I am one of them.
I am also one of them.
Give me the Sam titties, dang it.
I would not be complaining about Sam titties in my face. What I would be complaining about is Sam's size 13 in my face. If you misjudged how high off the floor I was.
To be fair.
Mm-hmm.
But also that made me laugh so much, just like imagining Sam, like it's just I'm just picturing like an old cartoon or something where some comically tall character just like it's just like barely a tiny little step over a very a very normal sized person, but it's just like just over a tiny little bump.
Yeah.
No, there were so many funny little moments in there too. But it got so sweet and tender at the end. And just Sam taking care of the reader was just so sweet. And I also commented that I need to be able to book Sam to just come and tell me that I'm doing good just for breathing every now and then. I need that in my life, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, just so well done. So well done. You did so well.
Thank you.
And I'm so proud. And it's such a lovely fic. You both did so well. I'm just stoked.
Yeah.
Very proud.
When I first started reading it, the one thing I highlighted first was, Kasey, I loved how you did just the dialogue. I thought for a minute as I was reading it, I'm like, is this how it's going to go? Because I've seen
That's
fics
what I
like
thought
that
too.
before. But I thought it was a great way to start off you're already crunched for word, count. So you set the scene with just dialogue and then went into it. So I thought that was a great opening. It was a great way to open that with just the dialogue.
It was very dialogue heavy,
boom, boom.
which was a great way to I hadn't thought of it in regards to the word count, but you're right. That
I hadn't.
Is a very effective way of getting a lot of story in with a reduced word count. Yeah.
And using the sounds like click, thud, like, like just like different things in there. I thought was it almost felt like it was going to be almost like a script or something. And I was like, and then I thought it was a good lead in to, get you right there. Now you're stuck in a closet. Like, this is, you're stuck in a closet with Sam. And I thought that was really great. And I also know how you typically tend to write is, you've said this before, you're very cerebral. You get in the brain. So we were like immediately in reader's brain, for this. And I think I messaged, a couple things like, oh no, how horrible being pressed up against all that mass of a man and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because what I think is also really helpful for fan fiction in general is when we already know the character, like physically, we already know the character. Your descriptions then can be very succinct about what's going on. And we're able to like place all of those body parts and bits and this and that, like, as it's happening. And I don't think you give yourself enough credit for being descriptive. And I know you're very much like, I don't want to write I don't need to write 3 pages of dialogue. No, or 3 pages of text to describe something. But I think it's important to have that ability to succinctly describe something. And I think I highlighted a couple moments too, where again, it's just pretty much dialogue, but like, okay, duck down then. What? Crouch down. I'll step over you and get to the door that way. You try to crouch, but your chest is literally wedged against Sam. So all these little things where you're using the dialogue and description to place the reader there and anybody reading it there, I thought was really great throughout all of the story. I love the Sam titties line. I highlighted that too with like a laughing face because it was just great.
So good.
Sam titties are iconic and everyone talks about them. And it was just a great thing.
Yep.
I also got the same vibe where first I was like, oh, this is going to be cheeky and this is going to be funny. But then you layered in different parts where you could sense there's anxiety starting to build, and not just because they're worried about getting out of the closet, but because she's in a closet and she does not like this setting at all, and she's realizing it more. And sometimes you don't realize things that you are afraid of or scared of until you're in that spot, if you've never been put in there before. And I thought that was, I think I highlighted a moment. Yeah, it's a trick of your brain, but it's starting to feel like there isn't enough air with the door closed. And that's when I was like, oh, this is going to start to go bad. This is going to start to go bad for the reader. And then, all the movements and the moments. And Ted and I are always like, we can't help it. When Sam like gets his really huffy breath, when he huffs, like, we're kind of like,
like a bull.
I could see it. And I was like, oh gosh, he's turning into the big bad wolf. And this is not going to go well for the reader. Like, because, all of that like huffing and stuff is another added sensory thing that's not going to help reader.
Yeah. I commented on that part. I said, stop hogging all the air with your enormous lungs.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's like sometimes like you can be anxious and you can even be like on the verge of panic and you will be breathing faster, but it's not the like panting that everyone associates with it. So and like I am claustrophobic, but I'm not like enormously claustrophobic. Like I can get in a lift or an elevator. I can be in a small space, but I know that being stuck in a small space, I would spiral out very, very quickly. And I do know that when I am in spaces that make me anxious and make me uncomfortable, obviously my breathing picks up. So I was like, and it's a very lizard brain thing to do. You go, oh no, I'm trapped and there's not going to be enough air. And it's just a door, it's not like hermetically sealed or anything. Like you're not going to run out of air, but your brain goes, oh no, I can't breathe. There's not enough air. There's not enough. So then you've got, like 6'4", 6'5" hulking beast of Sam breathing. I mean, even if he was just breathing normally, you'd be like, you quit that? There is not enough. Stop it. And like the same.
For sure.
Sam says to the reader, like once he's kind of stepped over them, like you can stand now, it's fine. And the reader chooses to stay on the ground because instinctively that the airflow is coming in under the door and that's where there's going to be the most clean fresh air. So it was very kind of like animalistic, almost very lizard brainy to
that makes sense,
key into that.
It seemed very like freeze. Like I could imagine a moment where if you are claustrophobic, because I've done this where, in certain situations where I have panic attacks or whatever, like it's not necessarily that you are breathing or huffing, or it's like you just stop, like you just like shut down internally and you kind of have to make yourself breathe, and then when you don't, you get yourself into this, this like gasping situation. But there's a moment where all of you just freezes and tenses up. And I think that's just like that's our internal responses to danger, right? Like for some people it's fight, for some people it's flight, for some people it's freeze, for some people it's fawn. It's all these different ways. And I could feel that with your description of what was going on. And again, it wasn't like it was just peppered through, but then it started to escalate. And I could feel that sense of like, oh, this isn't going to be good. Like I was feeling it. I was like, this isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very realistic too. But as soon as I clocked it, I was like, this is weird. So again, preface it by saying we did not show each other our fics.
Nothing.
And
not even ideas. I knew Sandra was going to put Dean in the back of the car. And I had said to Sandra that I had put Sam locked in a closet, but that was it. That was all we had.
I also knew those things, but I was also blind of anything else. I refused to hear any spoilers, despite Kasey's tempting.
I require validation for all of my words.
I know you do. But in the interest of fairness, being the judge, jury, and probably not executioner in this case, but yes, as the arbitrator of some kind of, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with these.
There's something.
I don't know what. Yeah.
These metaphors are not working.
I had to stay. No, I had to stay pure of mind, so I refused all bribes
But I thought it was very interesting that both Sam and Dean, in both of these situations with their reader, are taking a moment to help the reader to just try to relax by breathing. So I was just like,
I thought the same thing.
So I was like, this is just kind of weird. Like,
Weird,
that it just kind of happened that way. So I thought that the scenarios themselves didn't necessarily wouldn't have lent to that. But the fact that, for some reason, as we were writing it, it took us to that moment, because I didn't think that was going to happen either, like in mine. So to see yours do that, I was just like, I clocked it right away and I highlighted it. I was like, this is weird. Yeah. This is creepy.
Yeah. What the fuck? They're totally separate. And yet we've both got, like, I don't want to speculate what that might say about us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
The comfort
you
factor
know each other very well.
Or no, but I think just the comfort factor of when we, I know when I tend to write for Dean, like I want that comfort from him when I put him in a reader situation. Like I want that. And I think, again, I don't know, again, I don't think that was your intention either, but like, what we want when we write sometimes comes out in a way. But yeah, just like he was like, focus on that, breathe with me in, like, doing that whole modeling thing and like, having him, and then, yeah, like with the hands, like, and all of that, like stuff. Like, is there a point when he puts reader's hand
their hand on his chest?
Yeah, which is why, like, you got to second base. So it's like, that's important, and that grounds them and, puts them there with you. And I think I was just like, interesting, that's where we went. But yeah, he's so sweet and he's so adorable. He's so fumbly and clumsy and moosey and all of those things, but then he's so very just there for the reader. And I really appreciated that part that, he was able to get her to kind of like, he's giving her the praise and stuff like that. And that's important, So
Sam, I want him to tell me I'm good.
Yeah, and I think that's I mean, I think I have a line in mine. It's like, you're going to be so good. Like, it's like it's that kind of thing. So you want that validation from them. And yes,
I think
the line.
You finish off.
No, the line at the end, just like Dean for the comedic wrap up. Like, it's just he's there. You went through everything, a lot of emotions, no porn. On purpose. Like, I was just like, I was speechless too, but I thought the visuals were really great and very just like succinct, and that you did splendid work. It was splendid work for this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yay! Good job, Kasey.
Gold stars. Good job. I think it's interesting because I know you had started working on this before you did your angsty Dean fic. But then you kind of had to like break and do that and come back to it. But I didn't start working on this until after I'd finished Temet. So I think we've talked about this, but I struggled with Temet. I struggled to be alone with Sam. And I think if I hadn't written Temet before I wrote this, it would have been a very different story. But I think it's interesting that I'm coming off the back of, like, the bind wasn't a bad experience. I had a great time in the bind, but the story was difficult. And we've talked about that. And obviously you're coming off the back of The World. Sandra lives in America. It's not a great place to be at the moment. And I think it's so interesting that with such a broad prompt like that, we both went places where we could be comforted by our Winchesters.
Yeah.
And
I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's so sweet.
I think that, I mean, again, I think that's one of the reasons why the reason why these characters in particular just stick with me for so long. And they've been, really looking back at it now, like, I know a lot of people have grown up with them. Like, they talk about, like, when they started watching, some people watched them from the beginning, and so they're a real touchstone for people. I think for me, they came at a point where it was right before COVID, right? And then when COVID hit, that was it. That was my comfort. So I think I always feel that space and place that if I need to get away from what's going on with the world, I know Dean Winchester's there for that. But I think too, a lot of the comfort now I'm noticing, like I mentioned, I think if I'd written a Dean POV for my other challenge, an older Dean, it would have been angstier and harder. And I don't think I was ready to do that. So I wanted something where there's still all this trauma, but it's not, infinite level trauma that he hadn't gone through. Where you were dealing with a Sam who was had gone through, still going through, you've got him in trauma land, like, he's already been through, and you still know there's still more to go beyond it. So I think you did you took that on at a really difficult moment for him in general, that would, of course was going to leave you very like, it was a lot, and with my POV, I kind of like, I already knew it, but I was like, I just don't want to go there, with him. And I know I tend to do that a lot in my writings with them. I'm always amazed when people do go there, but I kind of like, no, no, I don't want to put you there.
It's like what we were saying earlier on about like your, like the way you can technically write, and it's not something me and Dreamer can do. You write to escape. You write to go, okay, the world sucks, right? But this here, this is nice. And like I write to prod things. I channel my issues into a safer place that I can explore them. So it's just a different way. So no, it's not. But I'm always amazed. Bad thing to go. No.
But again, like saying that too, like how we both need them, like for that purpose of comfort based off of what's going on in our world.
And
like
something that we're also very privileged with in the Supernatural fandom is that we have 15 years of this show. So while something has always been going on in the show that angst can be drawn from, there are times, especially, earlier in the show, when the boys weren't as, weighted under the burden of time and trauma. And we can have those lighter, softer time periods. If that's where you want to spend your time, and if that's the Dean or Sam that you want to spend your time with, instead of the later seasons, or maybe some of the middle seasons where things are really sort of fraught.
I'm in 14 right now, and I'm just like, oh man, like I'm going through 14, and I'm just like, man,
it's, I know,
like that's the great thing, right? It's like there's somewhere where you can find a mood if you need something specific. It's pretty much all there.
There's the joke that Supernatural's got a gift for everything, and we do. To be fair, we do. But we've also got like an era for everything. We've got a character for everything. If you want to explore some trauma, you can have post-Hell Dean, you can have post-Cage Sam, you can have post-Michael Dean. You have options, Demon Dean, Soulless. You can, if you don't want to invent a place for your trauma to exist, you can project it onto something that already exists. You want to deal with angry feelings, you've got plenty of angry, sad, emotional, difficult shit. Like we've got a character for everything. We've got an era, a season, we've got it all, whatever it is you need. And it works as well, because sometimes you can't fix things in real life, but you can take one of these characters from one of those shitty places and love on them. And it's soothing in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I liked how both of our fics, I think, have the boys loving on the reader in a way. And I think that's, again, that was kind of like another thing that was like, they're different but similar, I feel like, in the feeling of it, which again I thought was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So
I think that's so true. Like, which one of you was it that said it just before that? Like, it's like life is shit right now, and you both wrote fics where you know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that's so true. Like
Mm-hmm.
that just seems like a very, very on point observation
Yeah.
that you've both
Yeah.
written these fics to sort of comfort the reader and yourselves through that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
I like
there
that.
is just one more thing I want to point out about my fic that I didn't realize until Dreamer got hold of it, and I think potentially she's forgotten that she said this.
No, I've been thinking of it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to talk about it then? If you've
No,
remembered,
you
then you
go
talk
right-
about it.
No, you go ahead.
My reader
I mean-
is. You mean what? What?
Sorry, I was going to say. I mean, I can if you want me to, but you are more than welcome to.
Oh no, I'm easy. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Go
It's
for
not
it.
big.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I think I might know, but go ahead. Let me see if what you
Yeah.
say is what I'm thinking now. Go ahead.
Absolutely unbeknownst to me, this was not a conscious decision in any way. This reader is completely gender neutral.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I said her. I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. I'm like, I'm just automatically assuming, but there was no indication that
Yeah.
it was
Zero, yep.
her. Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's absolutely
I actually, when I was reading it, I thought that was done deliberately.
Mm.
And my my message to Kasey after reading the fic was like, you wrote gender neutral. That's awesome. Because I thought it had been done deliberately. And Kasey was like, that wasn't okay. Yeah, I see what you mean, but yeah, no, that was yeah.
Yeah. No, that was,
Yeah.
and as I
thought that
was
was awesome.
saying it, I was like, why am I doing this? I'm like, there was no mention. There were only Sam titties
Well, Kasey
mentioned.
hadn't.
Like that was it.
Kasey
Like,
hadn't.
yeah.
Yeah, Kasey
Mhm.
hadn't said
I don't-
anything to the contrary. So,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't
and
know
that's what they've
I don't
written in the
know-
past.
I don't know what else you would call those babies. They titties. Like,
Mhm.
Sorry,
So
Jared.
are you going to tag it gender neutral
I am,
reader? Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's
it's
cool.
just like I said, I didn't
There was no
deliberately set out-
porn, Casey. So you kind of like, you gave yourself the freedom to not have to worry about
Yeah.
any other
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
going
It was
on with the reader.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
And there's
It's,
definitely not a whole lot of gender neutral. I mean, there's very minimal gender neutral. Not just not a whole lot of. There is very minimal
very minimal.
gender
Yeah.
neutral reader
Yeah.
Yeah.
in this fandom. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I really like that because I was thinking about that too. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I think that's one thing too. I'd love to try to like explore more as well, with writers that do that. Because I know they're very
Mhm.
limited. But if you're out there and you want to talk about it and how you do the things, be interested in talking about that too. Because again, I think that's another muscle or skill. And, when we get into like our ingrained bias, right? Like I'm immediately thinking it's a female, like in my brain as I'm reading it. And I'm just like,
I
Yeah.
was thinking it's a female when I was writing it. I didn't set out deliberately to write it as a male character or a gender neutral character.
right.
It just never came up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was never the the reader character just never needed describing. And then when Dream brought it up to me, I was like,
And I think that's
"Oh,
great
shit, yeah.
because then anybody reading it, can put themselves in that. And that's an awesome feat to have done. So yeah, you get to add one to the gender neutral reader list. Good job.
So good.
Good job.
Hooray.
Good job.
Thank you
Yay.
guys. Well done,
Yay.
everyone. We're
Yeah.
so good.
What was your word
Best.
count?
You're so good.
My word count was 997.
Oh,
Woo!
okay.
Just one word.
The crowd
off.
goes wild.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So again,
So look at us. We were so good.
the plan
good.
is, as we are recording this now, that we are planning on dropping the Vix along the same time as this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we should wrap it up with a little bit of like hyping up the whole reason behind this challenge, which was the Smut Closet. And
The Smut Closet.
Yes.
So you gotta join the Smut Closet, and we will tell you how to do that. But these are going to be in the rotation, I believe, Sandra. They're on the list to be read.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna read them in.
They better be.
My hope is, even if I can't, maybe I might have to do like a double Smut Closet reading that
Double
day
feature,
and do
yeah.
both, because I feel like we'll never get to all the other people. Not that there's a ton, but like if we start to get people that line up, I'm like, I don't know if I can do it more than once a month, so we may have to double up
Yeah.
on our
Yeah.
Smut Closet readings. But yes, the goal is to do a live recording of both of these. So maybe we'll start with Casey's and then we'll end with mine.
And
Because
you have to tune in, because you got to know what the 67 words that Sandra managed to imbue with such hotness it turned me into a speechless puddle. And also, what was Dean's zinger closing line? We didn't say.
Exactly.
You gotta tune in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't want to read it out. Yeah.
You don't want to be the curious cat.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened to the curiosity? Killed the cat?
Satisfaction brought it back.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
You need to be that one.
You need to be satisfied.
We want you to be the cat that comes back, please.
Oh goodness.
My metaphors are not doing well today, you guys.
This is not a good day for dreaming metaphors. Not today, friends.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
But let's see. Specifics about the Smut Closet. We do it in our Discord server. We have a Smut Closet stage. Try to do it once a month.
Life happens, though.
Yes.
So
try to keep it to about 30-ish minutes. So I typically try to do a little bit of a warm-up for my narrations. The
warm-ups are so good, you guys. Oh my gosh. She is a legend. She does like all these tongue twisters and they're so good. And she just rattles them off like you would not believe.
On good days. I can rattle them off without, but sometimes I will make mistakes.
Yeah, but there's something just so charming about when you do slip up on them. Oh man, I like to count them, and it's not like to make fun of you. It's just, I don't know, they're just so charming because you're like a master. It's like, how many minutes does it take to read all of your tongue twisters?
I think it's about 3. I think I've clocked it. It's about 3 to 4 minutes. Yeah.
And she's just like bang, 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 bang. Oh my God. And she's like, oh, no one wants to hear me do the warm-ups again. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Do the freaking warm-ups.
We do. It's one of our favorite bits.
Exactly.
Do the warm-ups.
Oh my gosh. So good.
Yeah. So I do a vocal warm-up. Then I depending on what the fic is, like I try to read some of the tags or not, or if it's part of a fic, I'll do the whole thing. And then if I have to, I do my podfic disclaimer that if you've ever listened to any of our ramble-ons, I try to do that live. And then we kind of go into the whole point of it being 1,000 words is that it only takes about 10 minutes to narrate. And then if the person who wrote the fic is in the Smut Closet with us at the time, I like to bring them onto the stage when technical things are going our way and I can do all of the stuff that needs to happen. Or Kasey's with me holding my hand and we're doing the thing. Then we will bring, the author onto the stage for just like a quick Q&A for maybe 5 minutes or so. It's fun. It brings, everybody gets to see get a little behind the scenes literally, and then talking about the fic that it's very meta. I like to think of it as a very meta experience. We're talking about the fic. I'm narrating the fic. We're talking to the author about the fic, and it's fun. I think it gives everybody a little chance to be spotlit. And it's a fun community experience. And it is. I feel like it's very fun. I wasn't expecting it to be as fun as it is. I think people are getting a kick out of it, and I'm enjoying that. So if you're interested, there is a Google form for entries, but that is typically for people that we try to have as who is already a part of our Discord server. But I may share that Google form if someone's interested in doing the thing. But yes, then the mastered audio.
Our Discord server, though.
We join our Discord server.
Yeah.
The mastered audio goes onto AO3 as a Smut Closet fic drabble. So again, the final version, you won't hear all the fun bits in between or after, but the final just 10-minute version or less, depending on the speed, ends up on AO3 in our collection. I will link descriptions about all the things into the episode so you can know what to do, where to find it. But all of this fun Discord behind the scenes stuff is for Ko-fi members only. And that includes my vocal warm-ups. So, let's see.
And chatting with the rest of us.
We
are super fun, you guys.
Yeah.
We are very
in the
fun.
Discord are just, we're a bunch of cool cats.
Yeah. The Smut Closet is a part of the Road Snacks tier, which is $1 a month that you get access to. So for $1 a month, Ko-fi, you will be able to join us in the Smut Closet and get the behind the scenes fun of it. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing the thing, we'd love to have you just in the server in general. But then if you want to be a part of the Smut Closet, it's $1 a month. Otherwise, we have plenty of things too that you can just join us with in the Discord server that doesn't require a membership. But we'd love to have you guys with us.
And there are a billion other perks just with that $1 a month.
You get a goat.
Like this, you do get a goat.
Okay, preface, cool. Digital. It's a digital goat. It's a digital goat.
It's, yeah. It is a digital goat.
Yes, it's a digital goat.
Digital goat.
Yeah, not a real goat. You don't have to look
Casey does not have an endless supply of real goats, but they do have an endless supply of digital goats.
That's right.
And
yes.
shill.
Yeah.
The higher tier you join at, your goat has pajamas.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's hand named.
Even higher, and you get to pick the color of its pajamas. So
yeah.
Custom digital goat pajamas.
Custom digital goats up in this bitch.
I don't know where else you would go to get these kind of perks.
Yeah.
Hey, my goats are the best.
They are. And can I just say, the Smut Closet on its own would be worth $1 a month, but there are so many more perks that are so worth way more than that. But yeah, there's a $5 a month tier, there's a $10, there's a $20. It's like there are so many ways you can support Idling in the Impala, and it's super worth it because
yes, absolutely.
These guys do so much work, and they are worth at least $1 a month.
I know. My husband was like, he's like, people are paying $1 a month to hear you do that. It's like, you gotta raise it. Like, no.
Oh my God.
It's okay.
Yeah, I would pay. I mean, I do pay more, but yeah.
Dreamer is a generous patron, so we haven't paid her to say this. She pays for the privilege to say
I pay
this.
these guys for like I'm slipping the money under the desk to let me on the show. No, I'm not really. Really. But I do pay them. But I mean, like, I support them. Sorry, it sounds so funny. Oh my gosh.
But we appreciate
I'm all about supporting fandom creators because they do pay for the privilege of providing us all of this awesome content. Yeah. Because it doesn't come for free. I think it's pretty awesome to be able to give back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And thank you to all of our Ko-fi supporters. We love all of you. Yeah.
And all the listeners and everything for continuing to know. We know that, people are listening and doing that. So that means a lot to us, that we're not just, we probably would still just scream into the void, but it's a special something to know people are listening.
The production quality would be much less.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have the money to do it. So it'd be like, no, that's just not happening.
Exactly.
But we should probably wrap up because we've got another recording to do later, and we need to let Dreamer go at some point as well. So we just want to say that thank you for letting us do another challenge and, have you guys listen to the results and all of the fun things. It was a fun time, and never say never, but let's please wait to before.
I haven't given my ultimate judgment.
Oh, okay. There's ultimate judgment. Oh, yes.
The winner of the challenge is both of you, obviously.
I was
never going to pick one.
I was going to say. Wait, what's happening?
I got 10 to a minute. Then I was like, it's going to be Sandra because that was Palm.
No, you're both amazing. I love you.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to judge and talk about it with us. So
I love being included. Thank you for having me. All right. Well, thank you for listening through all of that.
I thought you were going to lead her in there, Sandra. I already did it. Lead her in
I
there.
already did it. I said, so we're going to wrap up this episode.
Let us know what you thought of the episode. You can email us at idlinginttheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section or leave a YouTube comment. But please join our Discord and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. You can check out our merch store. And when this episode goes live, has the Priding in the Impala merch. So don't miss out on that. It finishes June 30th at the end of Pride Month. And that's another awesome way to show your support for the podcast and for the Trevor Project. You can find details of that and everything else to do with Idling in the Impala at idlinginttheimpala.com.
Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi for as little as $1 a month. We have perks to go along with the different membership tiers and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks and Music tier, we've got Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, and Elia. From our own Mrs. Butters tier, we've got Charlie. Thanks for picking the tunes in the car and keeping the lights on in the bunker. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thanks. Don't forget, you can always support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, and sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes that we support in the description. So from me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities, including the Trevor Project. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes that we are always highlighting, championing, spotlighting are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we will say thank you for joining us in the back seat. And we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.